Hey everybody, welcome to the First Million Words podcast. This is our awesome and amazing episode with Dan Wells, who also was awesome and amazing, and I really had a lot of fun talking to him. So did Guillermo, and I just wanted to come on and let you know before the show started, there's a little bit of a snafu. Well, not really a snafu. We got a little bit off topic, but it just so happened that the topic that we got off onto was the topic that we had scheduled to discuss for the episode that you'll hear next week. So I made that little segue, little side thing, a topic that we're going to cover next week. And I won't tell you what it is. You'll just have to stay tuned and find out what it is. But we had a lot of fun with Dan, and where we started veering off, it kind of fades out. You'll hear the little segue music, and it'll fade back in, so don't be alarmed. We have a full, 30 minutes with Dan? About 30 minutes and a half? 30 and a half? I don't know how to say that properly. Because it's late. It's late, and also I've been feeling rather sad because Guillermo just recently moved up to DC, so I can't throw a rock at him if I wanted to because he's too far away, and I can't throw a rock that far because I'm not an Olympic athlete, guys. I'm not. By the way, did you guys catch the Olympics? Yeah, you like them opening ceremonies? There was a part at the end of the opening ceremonies where it looked like a scene out of Lord of the Rings. You know, because it was in England, and I've just figured that's where Lord of the Rings actually took place in real life. But anyway, it was a lot of fun. And so was our interview. Dan Wells, he is the Dan Wells on Twitter, fearfulsymmetry.net on the interwebs. And also, don't forget to give us a little bit of feedback on iTunes if you are enjoying our show, because it's greatly appreciated and it helps us out a lot if you give us some stars, write some comments, and do that. And also follow us on Twitter at FMW Podcast. We also have a Facebook page, and there's the regular FMWpodcast.com if you're so inclined to listen to us that way. And we're on Stitcher now. So hooray Stitcher. So hopefully we'll be seeing you on any one of those mediums. I don't know how to pluralize that. So all right, we'll see you guys next week. Until then, right. The First Million Words, Episode 20, a partial interview with Dan Wells. I just got a contact request on Sky.
All right.
So I'm gonna hit the record button. Actually, I've hit the record button already. I'm going to add this Dan Wells character to my contacts on Skype. And it looks like he has Hellboy as his profile picture.
Awesome.
Let me see. Hang on a minute. Oh. There it goes.
Hello?
Hello?
Oh my goodness, did it work?
It did!
I'm delighted.
I even added you to a conference call on my end.
With Guillermo Beles.
Yeah, that would be me. I'm just here to supply the dead air and lots of ums.
Okay. Well, I was hoping that would be my job, but I'll try to be more interesting than that, I guess.
Okay. Well, I mean, I could just talk. I'm pretty good at just talking. And if you two want to, sit back and just go, then that would be cool.
Okay.
We could do that.
All right. No, actually, I got nothing.
You've got.
Well. Hi, Dan.
Hi.
I'm Ben. This is my brother-in-law, Guillermo.
Hey, how's it going?
Nice to meet you both.
Thank you.
Likewise.
I'm a big fan of your writing and of writing excuses.
Cool. Well, thank you.
Yeah, so it's a lot of fun to have you on our show.
All right, tell me about the show.
Okay, what we do is every month is we focus on a different author, and we basically do one big kind of author interview at the beginning of the month, and then 3 smaller segments that are really inspired by writing excuses on different writing topics.
Cool.
And so we'll keep you on for maybe like, probably a little more than an hour if you have the time for it.
Yeah, I can do that.
Great. So 2 hours is good?
I was hoping for 7 hours, but if you guys are going to give up after 2, then okay.
Well, if we could go for 7, and we would have a whole year's worth of shows right there.
Nice.
Yeah. But by the end, though, I work for a radio station in Miami, and we did it was listener supported, and we did like a little fun drive, and I was on the air for 12 hours straight.
Wow.
We played songs in between. It wasn't just me talking for 12 hours, but at the end of that 12 hours, I ended up accidentally eating soap. So I could just imagine what would happen after just 7 hours with no music filler. So.
Wow. Yeah.
Yeah. In my defense, it looked like cheese.
Now I'm curious as to what brand it was.
Oh, actually.
Was it cheese scented?
No. Afterward, I definitely, I may have had a nasal mirage situation where I thought it smelled like cheese, but afterward I was like, that was definitely soap. But somebody had used a cheese grater and grated up some soap so that they could make potpourri or something.
So it had the grated cheese texture on it.
Yeah, it looked like shredded cheddar.
Plus it was, the Pepperidge Farms brand soap, which only further confuses it.
So you're just like, man, I can't find any cheese for my taco. Oh, there we go. Someone was kind enough to pre-grate some. Pre-grate? Is pre-grate a word?
Pre-grate, yes.
Okay. Awesome.
Yeah, I think pre-grate's a word.
It comes from the Middle English pregate.
Oh, okay. Because that sounds like something. That sounds like something you would get some sort of like weird intestinal disease. Pre-grate.
Sorry, I can't come into work today. I have pregrate.
Exactly. And they're like, what? And you can just explain whatever you want because you just invented it.
And that sounds believable enough that they're like, oh, maybe we shouldn't, let them come into work. Get away with that.
It's highly contagious.
But only to people that I am physically crapping on. That seems to happen a lot at work.
Wait, physically or metaphorically?
No, both.
Oh,
both.
Okay.
Thanks. He has a very interesting job.
There's our first edit. Oh boy. Hang on, let me write down the time so I can take out the thing about you crapping on people physically.
I can't. Oh yeah. We're trying to. We're aiming for to avoid the explicit tag.
Yeah.
Because
iTunes clean rating.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
I'll avoid making crapping on people jokes.
Okay. I don't put the clean tag on anymore. Because you know how you can put the clean tag on, or the explicit tag, or no tag?
Mm-hmm.
And after we, who was it? Oh, well, we interviewed Michael J. Sullivan. He wrote the Rhaenyra Revelations.
Yeah.
And for Orbit. And he, at the very beginning of the episode, I was like, oh yeah, I haven't put up a review of your book yet. And he's like, oh, you're just waiting for me to, to figure out if I'm an asshole or not before you write a review. So I was like, after that, we couldn't put the clean tag on anymore. So, oh well. It's all his fault.
Yeah, but then after the clean tag was dropped, it's like listenership went up by like 50%. So I'm guessing people are like tuning in going, please say the F word.
Finally, they've broken the yoke of this clean rating. I can get the hard-hitting vulgarity I've always wanted in a writing podcast.
From a writing podcast, yeah. If only they could make a writing podcast that catered to my decadent, filthy, vulgar needs. Yeah.
It's like, okay, is the host? Do they have some sorts of some form of Tourette's? Okay, I'm in.
Oh boy.
But yeah, I mean, sorry, the podcast is. Wait, what?
Do they like to crap on people?
No, they just are cursed with the inability to control, saying curse words in public, and I'm pretty sure it's really embarrassing and horrible. And and
an excellent excuse.
Exactly. It's just like when you cuss someone out, you can be like, I'm so sorry, I have Tourette's.
Yeah. Did you ever want to have, since the whole writing podcast thing, maybe we could talk a little bit about writing. Did you ever want to have a character with Tourette's, just to so you could have that excuse?
No, because I personally don't really swear.
Yeah.
But I'm Mormon, so for me, hell and bastard that's deliciously wonderful to say words like that, because I never do. And so that's stepping into the wild side for me when it comes to profanity.
Yeah, you can be vicarious through the characters like that. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, actually, if it's not too awkward, I actually wanted to ask if that your Mormon faith, because I also I grew up church.
Mm-hmm.
Too, not in LDS or anything, and it was more, I guess, Pentecostal.
More
right?
Speaking in tongues, dancing, and moshing.
Yeah, church moshing. Yes.
Yeah.
And I still hold on to that now that I'm older and everything. I wonder if that is a big influence on your writing style, because there's a lot of there's a lot of like supposedly like Christian literature people out there, and they're like, if you don't have like a good God stereotype in your book, then you're not spiritual enough for us. So I wonder if that informs how you write.
If anything, it does it backwards.
Mm-hmm.
There's actually a very strong LDS publishing community within, the much larger and very huge Christian publishing community.
Yeah.
And there does seem to be kind of the idea that you need a moral. And I just hate that. I don't want my literature to be didactic.
Mm-hmm.
And so I will go out of my way to make sure there isn't a moral at the end.
Nice.
But I don't know. No, I will say that I don't believe, and this is basically me stealing this answer from Orson Scott Card. I don't think that my religion directly influences anything I write. Like, I don't sit down and say, I'm going to write, about this scripture or this story or this principle or anything like that.
Mm-hmm.
But I know, having gone back and reread my stuff, that my beliefs are all over it.
Oh, yeah, I'm
just
sure.
On a deeper level.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Yeah, I feel that same way with my writing. Like, like I was saying, like in the, the Christian side, with the books, it's like, oh, you got to have an altar call, at the end of your book, or we're not going to publish it or read it or write it or anything, and we'll give it bad reviews.
So how exactly do you attend an altar call that you read in a book? Do you specify a specific? Is there you tell them to go to some certain location where there's a guy with some oil and I don't know.
It's a geocaching thing.
There you go. Yeah.
You have to find it with your phone.
Yeah. On a personal side note, and I can edit it out. Do you make a differentiation between Christian and Mormon? Because I know there was this big movement in the Christian, or quote Christian church, that they're like, oh, watch out for those Mormons, and it's like, I mean, if Jesus is the center of it, then I don't see a difference.
Yeah, I'm with you on that.
Yeah.
It's having grown up Mormon, Jesus is everywhere. Christ is the center of everything we do. But some of our specific beliefs about, for example, the Trinity, some Christian churches don't consider that to be Christian enough, and therefore we're not Christian. But I certainly feel pretty dang Christian. So
yeah. That's that's just that stigma that it's all over. I guess the term is evangelical Christian now. Where they're like, watch out for Mormons because that's not Christian. And, I thought the definition of Christian was Christ-centered. So,
well, then again, you have those people that are especially like on the extremes that are they'll pretty much say that Catholics aren't, real Christians.
Yeah.
And it's just like, which, which extreme do you, are you going to go to exclude?
Yeah, I think
Yep.
I think I only bring this up because I just had some Jehovah's Witnesses come to my door just about 20 minutes ago.
Oh, that's cool.
Yeah, so it just kind of got me thinking on that whole thing.
You should have had him on. You should have invited him on. We could
For
have
any of you
talked
science
about.
fiction writers. Actually, they might take that as an insult. I don't know their specific beliefs regarding science fiction.
Oh yeah,
Well,
I don't
the thing
know.
is that they don't celebrate Christmas and birthdays, or so I hear.
they don't celebrate Life Day.
No, the Wookiee Life Day. No, they don't.
Oh well.
Maybe someday we'll, I don't know.
Yeah. So anyway, back to that writing that we were talking about. Sorry, I got a little.
No, that's no problem.
Some authors we get sidetracked about talking about, what MMOs we're playing, and I just figured it's nice to have, someone else on the show that's at least got a religious background and an upbringing, and it's in their life. So I just thought I would vent a little bit with you.
Okay, cool.
All right. So on the topic of writing, now that we're back to it, you actually have your books. I think I wanted to do a segment on this later about not really sticking to a specific genre.
Yes.
Yeah. 'Cause I think
That's kind of what I'm doing right now.
Yeah. I just read. I got the first chapter of Partials as a sample.
Mm-hmm.
And yeah, it's like, wasn't this guy just writing about monsters? And you actually also have a kind of an epic fantasy route. Sorry. That's actually, speaking of being, a certain percentage complete. One thing I keep meaning to ask everybody we interview, but I always kind of end up forgetting about it, but you reminded me. Thank you.
Okay.
Is Guillermo and I both were having a little bit of trouble finishing, just coming to the end of the story and being done with it. How, except aside from saying, oh, I have a deadline, I have to finish it, how do you go about finishing a story?
My process is very specific, and for me, I have to know how a book is going to end before I can start it. And a lot of authors disagree with that. A lot of authors don't do it at all. Jay Lake, for example, has no idea. He writes from the hip. And, he gets to the end and goes, oh, so that's how it ends. Which is a great way to write if that's how it works for you. And for me, it does not. I have to figure it out. And so I will come up with the idea and then figure out how it ends, and then go back and build an outline for it. Sometimes very specific, chapter by chapter, scene by scene. And then as I write, I kind of ignore that outline and just keep it in the back of my head without slaving myself to it. But always keeping in mind, this is the ending that I'm building toward. And everything has to, we have to put all the pieces in place so that when that ending comes, it'll be awesome. And that is what helps me to finish, is because my entire writing process is a build toward that end point.
Nice. So as long as you have that finish line in sight, it's easier to get to it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's like if you're planning a road trip somewhere. If I'm driving from here to Chicago or wherever, I need to know where Chicago is and which roads will take me there. But then while I'm driving, it's up to me which car I take and which detours I take, as long as I know that I need to end up in Chicago.
Nice. Great city to go to, by the way. That's where I grew up.
Oh, very nice. I was in Chicago just last month on tour with Partials.
Nice.
And realized, being there, that I had to go home and watch the Blues Brothers again.
all the cop lights, or the cop car lights are blue.
Mm-hmm.
Yep. That's
Yeah, the top 10 chase scenes of all time, 2 of them are in that movie. So that's one of my favorites.
We're on a mission from Gad.
Yeah.
No,
I think the pronunciation exactly right. You got to say Gad.
Yeah. You go to church and worship Gad.
You drive through there. You see the like the subway that goes above you, and it was really cool just going to the city and just seeing that.
You went there not that long ago. Yeah.
Yeah, and you're like, cool. I'm in Gotham City.
Yeah.
He had his first Chicago chili dog not that long ago. That was
it was.
I'm a big fan of New York style pizza.
Mm-hmm.
So when I was in Chicago, I had to try Chicago style to see how it stacked up.
Uh-huh.
And now I'm not sure that I know which one I like better. Chicago style was very good.
That's an okay place to be. There's this one. Well, okay. If again, side note, if you're ever in that area, if you go just a little north of the city, there's this little town actually it's in Wisconsin called Kenosha.
Okay.
And lots of crazy people live in Kenosha for some reason, but that's beside the point. There's this one pizza place called Ruffalo's 2. There's 3 of them, and you want to go to 2. So if you're ever in that area again, just go a little north. It's probably an hour drive from the city. Ruffalo's 2, they have the best pizza. They do the little... The tomato sauce is a little extra sweet. And a little bit of sugar in there, and they... which ends up kind of caramelizing the cheese into the crust and everything, so it's good stuff. But
yeah, that sounds good.
It is.
I actually put Chicago. There's a whole sequence of Chicago in the second Partials book that I'm writing right now, and it doesn't really ever matter.
Mm-hmm.
But I put Chicago. Chicago is the primary setting of the Hollow City, which comes out in July.
Oh,
but since 90% of that book takes place in a mental institution.
Mm-hmm.
It doesn't matter which city it's in. I just thought it would be fun to put it in Chicago.
Yeah, nice. Yeah, you throw little things like that out, and people are like, "Oh, I'm from there. I like this book more." Yeah.
Well, I hope. I think they're even more likely to say, "What? That's not how our geography works. This is a horrible book."
Yeah. Yeah, that's fun. Oh, and you were we missed you when you came down to I think you were down around Miami. We're in Florida ourselves.
In March. I was in what's it called? Books and Company or dang it. I can't even remember the name. I've been to like 12 bookstores in the last couple of months.
Yeah.
So
well that was somewhere in was it? Well, I mean, it's not Miami proper.
No, it's right outside.
Coconut Grove, was it?
No.
Oh. Guillermo, what are the other places around? Because I don't live there anymore.
I don't know. It's a gorgeous bookstore. Like, it was amazingly beautiful.
Mm.
And I would move in there. That's what I kept thinking is Partials takes place after the world has ended, but because it was a plague instead of like a nuclear bomb, all our stuff is still there.
Yeah, yeah.
And so I would totally just move into a bookstore had I survived that apocalypse. And that one in Miami, I would move right in and be happy forever.
Except you get there and you get your whole stack of books and then you break your glasses.
I know. Invariably.
Yeah, I think I read that like on your website. I read that like maybe a few days after you had been there, and I was like, oh, I could have gone, but I didn't.
Yeah, sorry.
Yeah,
I don't know what I can do, and I'm not saying this to to denigrate you in any way, because this happens all the time. This happens everywhere I ever go, and I don't know what I can do to advertise better. Because I'll put it up all over my website and Facebook and Twitter, and I don't know. I need to hire a skywriter one day before I arrive in a city.
Like the Wicked Witch.
Yes.
Yeah. Surrender Dan Wells in this bookstore.
That'd be fantastic.
Yeah. Well, next time you come down, we'll have to we'll come visit you. So Dan, it's been a lot of fun talking to you.
Yeah, it has been great.
Thank you for being on our show, and just so that we can have it all in one spot. All right, assuming that the show goes up at the beginning of August, unless my computer catches fire and I lose all the files, but it should be okay.
Okay.
Tell us everything that you got in the kind of revolving around you with the writing releases from then.
Okay. You mean between now and August?
Well, between
August and looking forward.
Yeah, like saying, "Hey, it's the beginning of August. Wasn't it great that this came out last month?"
Okay, well, being as we are right now in the beginning of August,
yes.
If you can cast your mind back to May, when I was able to relaunch my ebook, which is A Night of Blacker Darkness, historical comedy about pathetic vampires and bank robbers, and John Keats and Mary Shelley and Jane Austen. And in July, I had a new book come out, so that's only a month old, and you can still find it everywhere. It's called The Hollow City, which is a supernatural thriller about a man with schizophrenia who realizes that some of the monsters he sees are real. Coming up in, I think, October. I'm not entirely certain the exact release date, but I will make sure to let you know.
Okay.
Is Isolation, which is an ebook that takes place in the Partials universe, but it is not about Kira. It's about a minor character from the first Partials book that I'm not telling you who it is yet.
Okay, so then that's the kind of a novella.
Mm-hmm. Okay. That's a novella. That'll be E only. Mm-hmm. But, you can read that on any computer. It's not e-reader only. It's just digital.
Yeah.
And then coming up next year, in late February, early March, is Fragments, which is the second Partials book. And it is awesome, and
nice.
You'll love it.
Nice. And, I keep hearing you say the Partials cycle or...
Partials sequence.
Sequence. So you're not committing to a trilogy or something like that. So how many?
Well,
do you have
there will be
plan?
a trilogy of main books, and it is it's a 3-book series, and I've already got it all planned out. Like I said, I always have the ending in mind before I write anything, even for a series. But there will be at least 1, if not 2 or 3 novellas in that same sequence, and there will be a lot of supplementary materials that we've already written that will be coming out here and there, and I'm not entirely certain how the publisher intends to use them, but they're short stories and in-world documents and things like that I've written and that they're going to use to drum up hype, I guess, for the second book. So that's what we're looking at.
Awesome. I look forward to reading all of that. And also, of course, there's still the John Cleaver series is still available. Ebook, paperback, hardcover audiobook.
Yep.
Which by the way, I listened to the series through audiobook. And, well, I'm realizing now that I haven't brought up some kind of, like, awkward, passive-aggressive kind of insult like I have done with actually every author we've done.
Okay, I'm excited now.
Like one author, I was like, so, you shouldn't, vary your dialogue tags, but you do it, and tell us about that. And somebody else, I was basically like, oh, your characters are stupid, or your characters are named stupid, and someone else, I was like, oh, I hate your covers.
Well,
but
I think the whole your characters are named stupid was me, but that's not the way I meant it. Yeah. I just meant your spell check exploded when your characters.
But in the vein of kind of awkwardness, that the first one, the narrator, that was kind of my problem, and it took me a while to get back into finishing the second and the third one because the narrator was not that great on the first one.
So on the first one, but you like the narrator on 2 and 3.
Oh, the second, yeah, that guy, he reminded me of Edward Norton.
Yeah, the guy on 2 and 3 is named Kirby Hayborn, and he's fantastic. He's actually won several audiobook awards for narration. The first guy, I've only talked to one person out of hundreds that liked him. I don't remember his name. I'm thank you, whoever you are, for doing it, but I've heard more complaints about that book than anything. I mean, people did not like the reader at all.
Yeah, like his style wasn't really quite right for the book. I mean, I'm sure he's if he's done other audiobooks, I'm sure he may have that one niche that he fits into. But yeah, it was kind of but like you didn't was that your decision? And you
nope,
like,
I have no input whatsoever into
good.
that end of things. So
I've managed to not really insult you then. So
no, you did not insult me at all. You insulted some hardworking book narrator, and he's crying at home right now,
as he should.
I've had a lot of people ask, in fact, if we plan to re-record the first book with the narrator from 2 and 3.
Mm-hmm.
And again, I have no control over that at all, and I doubt that the publisher has a vested interest in doing it.
Yeah.
But we'll see.
Okay. Well, great. Thanks again for being on our show, and it was great to talk to you.
Thanks for having me.
I think we may have talked on Twitter a couple times about deodorant advertisements.
Ooh, possibly. What's your Twitter name?
Oh, it's at Ben_J_L. So it's Ben JL.
Maybe.
But and you have it's fearfulsymmetry.net.
Fearfulsymmetry.net.
And you recently kind of changed your Twitter name.
Yeah, we if you're looking for me anywhere online, look for the Dan Wells. The V at the front is important. There's an actor in Hollywood, kind of a C-list, D-list guy who you've never seen in anything, but who's very web savvy, and more power to him. And he shares my name, so everything's already taken.
Yeah.
But the Dan Wells is kind of the name that we have claimed and staked that claim on every social networking site we can think of, and we've grabbed the web address for it. So the Dan Wells, you can find my website there. You can follow me on Twitter. You can find me on Facebook. That's the way to do it.
And writingexcuses.com too.
Mm-hmm.
And you can
and also, while we're talking about podcasts, I just started a new podcast this week.
Oh, really?
Which, well, I guess since this is August, it was several months ago.
Oh, yes. I remember listening to it. It was great.
Yes. It's called Do I Dare to Eat a Peach? Which is the very esoteric, highfalutin name that my brother came up with for the podcast we do together. He is also a science fiction author with HarperCollins, and
Rob, right?
Rob Wells.
Mm-hmm.
We're brothers, and so we grew up arguing with each other and making fun of each other, and finally decided, you know what? We're both authors. Let's take advantage of that and record ourselves making fun of each other every week. So
awesome!
That's what it is.
I'll definitely listen to that because I missed the appendix.
The appendix was very good.
Yeah.
He unfortunately wasn't able to keep going with that, but Do I Dare to Eat a Peach thus far has been a lot of fun. We're actually recording another one today. So
Awesome. Well, we'll let you get to recording that, and we'll check it out. Do I Dare to Eat a Peach? I'm going to have to write that down.
Cool.
All right, Dan, thanks again, and we hope to maybe talk to you again in the future.
I hope so too.
Good. See, I kept from insulting you too much, so that maybe you'll come back.
Absolutely.
All right, thanks.
Thanks.
All right, thank you.